I'm Nick Thomas, one of the founding members of MX Locker. I've been racing motocross since the age of 3. We all know how expensive this sport is and the dedication it takes. Being a privateer is not easy, and that's why MX Locker was founded. MX Locker allows you to earn extra cash for the riding gear, bike parts, and dirt bikes you no longer use. It's a community full of riders, including racers and privateers like myself. It keeps my program going.
What's going on, YouTube? Currently packing my gear bag to head out to go ride. And while I was doing that, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make a video and go through what's in my gear bag. I feel like that's kind of interesting for some of you guys that are a bit newer to the sport, and for some of the beginners that are pretty curious to see what's in a rider like myself's gear bag. So we'll start off with the most obvious one, which is a helmet. I always pack 2 helmets no matter where I go. Definitely just in case I have like a weird crash and break a visor, or something breaks on my helmet, like a buckle or something, I have an extra helmet. I have my full white. This is my go-to helmet, obviously, because most of the time I'm wearing all white. Gotta have the white helmet. Painted by a Corsace out in Southern California. He is my go-to painter as well if you're looking for a helmet painter. And this black one right here, which is technically what I would consider my backup helmet right now. Insane detail on the back of it. Probably one of my favorite helmets overall. Helmet's number one for sure. You cannot go to the track without a helmet. You cannot ride without a helmet. Next would be knee braces. There's a big controversy between knee pads or knee braces. I genuinely believe knee braces are the way to go. Some people complain that you can't feel the bike very well with knee braces compared to knee pads. And if you don't know the difference, knee pads are a little bit thinner. They're more like BMX knee pads type deal. Slightly different, but it's kind of the same concept. You kind of just slide them on and they're good to go. I have my Mobius braces right here. I've had these things for probably 4 years now. I'm actually very impressed. No, I'm not sponsored by them. I do not have a deal with them or anything. I'm just genuinely impressed that these things, knock on wood, have held up for as long as they have. But I run the Mobius knee braces. I believe they're called X8 or something like that. Number 3 is gear. Now, I am notorious, like I said earlier, for the all white setup. That is kind of my trademark. I've been doing that for probably 10 years now. I always keep 2 sets of gear on me every time I go to the track, for the same reason that I keep 2 helmets on me. If I have a rip, if I have a malfunction. So if you have the ability to at least have a backup set of gear, just bring it with you because it makes things easier just in case something does happen. Now, if you're newer to the sport, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to afford to have 2 of everything, right? Or if you don't have sponsors, this sport's super, super expensive, which is also why I'm proud to be a part of MX Locker. And now, if you don't know what MX Locker is, we are a online marketplace, new and used motocross gear, parts, bikes, literally everything to do with the sport. If you need something, it's gonna be on there. And you're able to find it for a lot cheaper than retail. Sometimes you can find new stuff for cheaper than retail, but other times you can find gently used gear that's probably been worn once or twice for 40 to 50% off of retail. I myself even have some of my old gear, as you can see in the background. I have some of it listed up for sale on MX Locker. Super easy to sell, way easier than Facebook, way easier than eBay. The fees are lower. And you can connect with people like myself as well with the Shop with the Expert tool. Myself, Jeff Walker, Jeff Emig, and there's a couple other pros on there. Our opinion on gear, boots, parts, bikes, helmets, whatever you want, suspension. And yes, it is really us. I think that's a really cool opportunity and super cool for the community, so I wanted to throw this in here as well. Now back to the gear situation. Like I said, I carry 2 sets of gear with me, so I have a ton of sets of the all white. But when I'm feeling like mixing it up, I do carry a couple sets of colored gear with me. This is probably my favorite stuff by far, is the Nova Torch set from AEKTIV. So I always kind of keep that on hand, just in case I either get one set dirty or I just want to switch it up. Okay, the next thing that I pack is boots. And yes, I do keep 2 on me, but that's very, very rare. If you're new to the sport, you're not gonna have that. You will probably get 1 pair of boots to last you a year, maybe even 2 years, 3 years at the most. You will probably only have 1 set of boots. I use the Garnet SG22s, super comfy. They have ankle support inside of them, but boots are important. You definitely need to make sure that you have the correct size. If you have too big of a size of boot, foot's gonna be sliding around inside of the boot. You're not gonna get the total feel out of the bike that you need. So if you're new to the sport, make sure that you have correctly sized boots. I even like to run mine a little tight. I'm a 9.5 shoe, but I run a size 9 in Garnet. I like to have super, super tight boots. I like to feel basically everything I can. Make sure that you guys have properly sized boots. If you're new to the sport, or if you're just not happy with your boot, maybe try a different size or a different brand, because I think that's one of the most important things to do with gear. And of course, the next subject I'm going to touch here is goggles. Now, I'm a big Oakley guy. I've been an Oakley guy for most of my career at this point. I absolutely love the Oakley air brakes. I don't think I would put anything else on my face, sponsored or not, because I was running Oakleys way before I got any type of help from Oakley. They are by far the best MX goggle out. And some of the technology that I got to see when I went to the Oakley warehouse behind the lens and the lens protection is unbelievable. Like, it's military grade stuff. Now, I keep a minimum of 2 to 3 sets of goggles because I have had instances where I just forgot. So I keep an extra set or 2 in my van at all times just because I can be an airhead sometimes and I forget constantly. So, but then again, they can be kind of expensive, right? This sport is very expensive just to begin with. But I do recommend for the beginners that if you are new to the sport, don't cheap out on goggles. You don't want to get the goggles that you can pinch with one hand and fold them in half. Like, you're going to get hit with one big piece of roost or a rock, and it's either going to go right through the lens, it's going to get stuck in the lens. You just don't want any issues with that. Things you do not want to cheap out are helmet, boots, and goggles, no matter what. So that's basically everything that I take in my gear bag. Give or take a few little things like some of my GoPro equipment, but for like actual motocross gear and stuff, that's everything that I bring. It's not a ton, but I do make sure that I have the right stuff. Now, again, if you're a beginner and you don't have 2 of everything, or you don't have access to all this extra stuff, I 100% recommend saving up, putting a little bit of money aside and getting the extra things that you need, like either if it's an extra set of goggles or an extra lens or helmet pads or extra gloves or extra set of gear, just to ensure that you have everything that you need. If you've been riding for a long time, you're obviously going to know stuff like this. But for the beginners that are just wondering and they kind of want to see what's in my gear bag, I wanted to make this video and put it out there for you guys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ride, but until next time, I will catch you guys later.